Alright, let's talk about the Ricoh GR4, the camera that's somehow both the most boring upgrades in camera history and the one you're probably still going to buy. It's like upgrading your iPhone. You don't really want to, but at the same time, you also don't want to be the guy who's still rocking the old model when everyone's flexing the new one. I'm just kidding. Most likely that you're getting the Ricoh 4 is because your Ricoh 3 or 3X just died. Like, it just doesn't work like mine, because that's what happened to mine. Like, the battery doesn't really work. I mean, the compartment, obviously, and also the wheel dial, just like, I mean, there's workaround, and then there's like, you know, hacks here and there. However, it doesn't fix the issue like altogether. And that's the main reason why I got the 4. Like the 3 just, like, I've been using it for like 4+ years, and that's when it died. So maybe this will happen to you, maybe not. Hopefully this doesn't happen to you. But hey, if it does happen to you, most likely you'll be looking at the 4 because honestly, the camera is just that good. However, if you just got the 3 or the 3X, let me save you some time. Like, don't spend time watching this video. Just stick with your 3. No need to upgrade to the 4. That's it. I feel like the 3 still has plenty of power, and it just works really well if this still works and being reliable. Now, if you've never been to the Ricoh system before, yeah, maybe get the 4 since it's probably easier to find a copy. Maybe, I haven't checked, but yeah, hopefully. And if that's the case for you, maybe also look into the 2. You might like the 2. And the 4. Don't get the 3 if you've never been to the Ricoh. Like, get the 2 or the 4. And I guess I'm done with the video. I'm just kidding. There's some more things to this, like in details. If you're still interested, if you're still here, thanks for being here. Truly appreciate it. Now I've been using the Ricoh 4 for a couple weeks now. This is just me sharing my experience with Ricoh during these past couple weeks. Now, before the Ricoh GR4 dropped, the internet was just frothing at the mouth with rumors. Is it going to be smaller? Is it going to be thinner? Is it going to fit inside your pocket, or is it going to make you toast in the morning? And then I picked one up. Deja vu. It feels just like the Ricoh GR3 that I've been using for 4+ years. They are practically identical. They're like twins. The Ricoh GR4 is heavier by a couple grams. That's like the weight of paper clips. So congratulations, Ricoh. In the pockets, in the pins, they are pretty much the same. The only actual change is that from the LCD screen to the lens, they are a couple millimeter thinner, I believe, which actually does make a difference in my opinion, because the handling of the 4 is better in my opinion, the grip. So maybe the slimmer body does help to bring out that handle. And honestly, I do like the handling on the 4 better when you're shooting a long time on the street, and it just feels better compared to the 3. So I consider it as a pro. Now the good news, and probably the best news on the Ricoh 4 is that they got rid of the dial that wraps around the control dials. That thing was like, are you sure type of ergonomics. It's always there, always wrong. Might even stop working, which is pain in the ass to find like solutions online, which at the end kind of works. Not all the time, sometimes. And you can still find that video on my channel if you have the 3 or the 3X and happen to have the same problem, which you probably will eventually run into if you've been using the 3 for a while. So hopefully that video will help you. But now we got real command dials on the camera itself, and also like actual buttons, like plus minus button for exposure compensation, which I truly welcome and enjoyed it more, way better than the wheel dial, whatever thing that they had before on the 3. Now on the Ricoh GR4, it does use a slightly bigger battery. I believe it's like 250 on paper, and that's like only 50 more shots compared to the 3. And honestly, it's not bad. I'm not gonna complain with more battery, more shots. And in my experience of using this camera, it does last longer and definitely gives you more shots. I feel like if you're just doing casual walk every day, here and there, everyday camera, then you're probably not gonna notice it much. But if you're bringing it to travel, like throughout the whole day, you're taking photos throughout the day, you'll definitely see the difference there. But at the same time, I still do recommend getting extra batteries if you can, if you're considering using this as a travel camera, like a main travel camera. The extra 50 shots is like adding 2 French fries to a small McDonald's order and calling it a large, but still better than nothing. Now here's another change. It's not using regular SD cards anymore. It's using micro SD cards. Now I personally don't like using micro SD cards. First of all, like I don't have a bunch of them laying around, and second of all, it's just tiny and finicky to use. At the same time, Ricoh also added and boosted the internal memory on the Ricoh GR4. They basically try to make it up to you with 54 gigabytes of internal memory. Just like the built-in storage that they had with the Ricoh GR3, it wasn't as much as 54, but now with 54, I feel like the micro SD card could be considered as optional. And honestly, to me, I do love the built-in storage from the Ricoh GR4 and believe that every camera manufacturer should start doing this, have like internal memory of every single camera they make. The 54 gigs on here is plenty for the way I shoot. I don't spray and pray for street photos, and other times I just use this camera as my just everyday camera to document my life, which doesn't require much storage anyways. Now as for display, you're stuck with the fixed LCD screen. No tilt, no articulation, doesn't flip out, doesn't do anything. It's like stuck on there. Street shooters will probably tell that's pure photography, but in translation, Ricoh probably just doesn't want to build a hinge, which is actually totally fine in my opinion. The screen itself, it's fine. It's bright enough under California sun. You just have to crank up the brightness, and that's gonna eat up the battery life faster than the Tesla on track mode. Honestly, a tilt-up display would be nice, a good to have, but I wouldn't say it's a necessity, especially for the way I shoot. So I'm not too mad about it being the same design. The Ricoh GR4 starts up noticeably faster than the 3, and sometimes my 3 doesn't even turn on. I do like that, but at the same time, I'm also a bit indifferent about this because I feel like the 3 is plenty fast enough already. Sure, the 4 is faster, is snappier, but if you're stressing out about half-second difference, you're probably not shooting straight or timing Olympic sprints. But it's still something I do appreciate on the 4. Who doesn't like a faster startup time? And honestly, this might be the fastest camera that turns on. Yeah, let me know in the comment section. Is this the fastest camera that you can turn on? On and off? This is just fast, insanely fast. Now the Ricoh GR4 doesn't give us weather sealing, but they did upgrade the sensor and lens design with better seals. So the translation to that is less dust should be able to sneak in. Now the translation to that is give it a year and we'll see if that's true. The Ricoh GR4 has 26 megapixels APS-C sensor, which is more than plenty for what I'm using the camera for. It is, however, 2 megapixels more compared to the 3. Has more resolution, more detail, so no complaints there. The lens is still the 18.3mm f2.8, which is about 28mm equivalent. It's perfect for street, wide enough to feel immersive, tight enough to avoid making people look like Gumby. And then we have the classic Ricoh move. We have the built-in ND filter, which I also do feel like a lot of camera manufacturers should just have that built inside the camera. I know it's probably harder on bigger cameras, maybe, perhaps, but hey, if Ricoh can do it in this tiny, small body, then there's really no reason. I don't know. I'm no rocket scientist. But Ricoh 4 has 2-stop ND filter. It's good enough to shoot wide open 2.8 if you want to under bright sunny day without blowing out the highlights obviously. And then combining that with leaf shutter, that's just flexibility. And now if you look back in history, they'll probably come out with an HDF version where you can have a built-in mist filter instead of an ND if you're more into that. Another improvement on the Ricoh GR4 compared to the 3 is that the 4 now has better in-body stabilization. Now the IBIS is definitely better than the 3 because I can now shoot. It's just, let me just show you a couple of images here. I can get really decent, I wouldn't say crazy good shots at 2 seconds, but going down at 1 second, I was kind of blown away already. But at the 2-second mark, I'm whoa, this is a little crazy, especially in a tiny camera like this. Now I'm not going to be taking 2 seconds shots or long exposure shots using this camera without a tripod all the time, but still it's good to know and have the ability and knowing the range that this camera can possibly be taking photos of. It's quite impressive in my opinion. And yes, even coming from the 3, I feel like the 3 is already pretty good handheld, but the 4, it's a different level. If you really ran into a situation where you have to slow down your shutter in order to avoid that ugly ISO look, then you know this camera is doable and capable of doing that. Now the autofocus on the Ricoh has never been impressive. I mean, it's noticeably better compared to the 3. And yes, I say I use it, most of the time. It's usable, especially when you consider the size and weight. Single point autofocus works fine. There's eye detection that works great. Okay, maybe not great, but good enough. And as for video video function. I mean, there's still a video button here, which I have no clue why it's still there. Like it's like 1080, 60 frames per second. I don't even remember, but yeah, just don't use it. The Ricoh is a photo camera. Let's not kid yourself. Just use this for photos. Maybe map this button to something else. Now, since they kept pretty much everything the same as the 3, there's no pop-up flash, which I feel like it's definitely a miss from Ricoh. Yes, you can get like a separate flash that Ricoh made. Like I believe it's like a rechargeable battery flash, no TTL. And honestly, I probably won't recommend getting the one from Ricoh as well. If you like using flash with the Ricoh, definitely check out Ricoh. This is like a tiny little flash that you can get and you can put on top of the Ricoh, and it's still pocket friendly. It also packs plenty of power in like less than half the price of the one that Ricoh makes. And no, there's also no TTL on the Ricoh flash, but hey, the best part about this flash is that you don't have to wait in line. You can I believe you can just get it right away on Amazon right now, which I'll leave the link down below if you're interested. Here's the kicker. The Ricoh GR3 launched at $900. Okay, let's say $1,000. But the Ricoh GR4, $1,500. That's an almost 70% price jump for 25% for battery and for a lens that finally decided to hit the gym. But before you complain, like just look at the market. With the Fujifilm X100VI, which I honestly don't know if that's the best camera to compare this camera to because they're quite different. But people do like pocket cameras nowadays. But the Fujifilm is like what? Way expensive, and you can probably not. Yeah, you're not going to be able to find one now, maybe for both cameras, either ways. So yeah, the Fujifilm costs more and it's not pocketable. Like pocketable street cameras are hot and Ricoh knows it. They're most likely going to be able to sell every single unit that they make. So should you buy the Ricoh GR4? Like I mentioned earlier in a video, if you're a Ricoh shooter who has the 3 or the 3X, no, I feel like the new functions, the new everything is just not worth upgrading to. But if your Ricoh GR3 or 3X is not working anymore, or is trying to die whenever it gets a chance, like mine, then yeah, I say get the 4 because it's not reliable and you just have no idea when it's gonna stop working. Might as well just get on the wait list and just, start waiting for the new one to come. This is, after all, the best GR yet. Better sensor, better lens, better stabilization, a slightly better battery life. Now, if you're coming in fresh, ask yourself this one question. Do you really want to shoot street? If yes, then yeah, definitely pick any one of these, like Ricoh 4, 3, if you can find one, like in a better value, then yeah, go with the 3. Or maybe even the 2. And no, I'm not talking about taking photos of pretty ladies on the street. That's not street photography. Again, I repeat myself, that's not street photography. And you'll probably have a really hard time using the 28mm anyways if you want to shoot that. But if you're not sure if you want to do like street photographies and you just want to document your everyday life, then I feel like the Ricoh GR4 is the price is just too steep for you to have and document your everyday life. I mean, unless money is not an issue, then yeah, by all means, go for it. But if not, then I'll probably look elsewhere for an everyday life camera. And that's the end of this video. Thanks for the 2 of you that's still watching. Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you still here? I'm just kidding. Truly appreciate you guys who stayed until the end, like now. And if you're still here and haven't subscribed, consider doing that now. It costs nothing. It does help me reach that 1,000 subscriber goal. So thank you so much again. Until next time.